Bismillah, let's do that. Okay, let me just push this on your screens, and I'm going to create a new project. I call it swing calculator. Oh, just calculator. So the calculator is going to be, well, let's just close all. I'm going to just create a new class, and because I already used the calculator, I'm just going to rename this. Maybe just let me rename, Control R, and calculator app, so I can free the name calculator to be used as a class. Calculator. So this is a very simple calculator, of course, and I'm going to extend a JFrame, and you know what, I'm going to implement the action listener, because you know what, just to show you that, you know, even that everything in one place sometimes is not really useful, but maybe in this situation it might be nice. So let me have this to implement all. For now, I'll just leave it empty. I'm not going to put anything. Let's just add the constructor that is to initialize everything. So I need to initialize my title, so set title. So the calculator. Of course, I can call also the constructor of a superclass, but I just would like to do things differently, so you have different ways how to do the same thing. And set size. So the size, I don't know, let's start with 300 by 300, and then let's move from there. What else? Yes, I can set the layout by new flow layout. Notice that every time I use the control space, NetBeans is handling the imports for me. That's very important that you realize that, because if you don't realize, you might think that all these are available right away, but you can see this flow layout has to be imported. Action event, because of its use inside, has to be imported because of the action listener was implemented. So the JFrame was important, but NetBeans is helping me just with the control space, but you have to be aware that these are not just coming up right on their own. Now I have all these. What I need to do is to declare, I said that we'd like to have some kind of calculator that looks like this, just number one, a text field, and number two, another text field, result, another text field. But you know what, I don't have to always put text fields to put the result. And you know what I'm going to do, I'm going to change that. I'm going to put a label as a result. Well, just for fun, just to show you something different. It doesn't always have to be a text field. Yes.
You need to declare variables.
I need to declare all variable, yes, instance variables for each one of those, yes. So let's just do that. So the J label. So how many labels do I have? A lot of them. So I'm going to define J label to be label n number one, or n1. Let's make it private. And copy paste. I have 3, 4. Let's just for the 4. Let's number 2, label 2, and say results. And now I'm out of names. How could this result is the let's call it caption here, and the result is the other one. And result is where I'm going to put the results actually of the calculations. And then I'm having another private J text field. Number 1 and number 2. And the results, I'm putting it in a label. Then I'm going to have the J button. Yeah, let's just have button add, and then let's add also subtract multiply and divide. So a lot of variables, and then I just need to initialize each one of those. Yes.
Yes,
Set what? Oh yes, the default. So default close operation. So jframe dot exit on close. Yes. To be able to, when I click on the X, it just closes the application. Now I need to initialize all these. So the label one. Sorry. Is it available? Yes, it is. Yes, yes, you're right. I can use exit on. Yeah, exactly, because it's. Yeah, it is also available in. Yes, you can use that. Yes. No, it's not about the important. This is defined also in the JFrame as a public static final int, but it's available. Yeah, you can use that. So now this equal new JLabel, and the text is going to be number 1. And I have number 2, and I have the caption. It's going to be result. And now I have this result here. That should be, for now it's empty. However, if I put it empty, I'm going to see nothing. So I'm going to put some zeros just to see the space it takes, so I know exactly how it's, just to see something. I'm going to change those later on, but just for now, just to see something on that window, that frame. Now these are for the captions, for the for the labels. Now for the text fields, let's prepare everything, then I add them. You can prepare, add, prepare. I prefer just to have prepare then add, but it's up to you. So number 1 equal new text field, and let's put the size of, or maybe put 2 things, the size and the text. So the text I would like to see 0, and then for the size, let's put 5, 10, maybe it's big, but let's just see 5 how it works, and then we can change it later on. And copy and paste for number 2. Now the buttons. Button add is equal new JButton, and then just put the text to be just the plus. Copy and paste. So this is for the subtract, this is a minus. Multiply, let's put an X because it looks like multiplication, and divide, I don't know, just like this. Now I have everything. Let's put them one after the other. So what I need to put now first is the label number 1. Then after that I will add the text field after the label. Then same thing for number 2. Label number 2 and text field number 2. Then let me put each line separate. Then I need to add the label caption and the label result. Then let's add the buttons. Add, and then copy and paste, and copy and paste. And now we're ready to see something. Let's run. the program stopped successfully because we just the main did not mention anything. So here there's nothing to do, so it did nothing, and that's it. So if I'd like to, I need to create a new object calculator. And let me show you something that I can use as well. Dot set visible to be true. This is also something possible because this creates a new object. That new object allows me to access the set visible, and then what's the name of that object? Well, I just don't need the name because I don't care about it. So this is just going to work just fine. So now this is not really the way I like it. So maybe it should be something like, if it was like this, it would have been better. Maybe increase a little bit the size of this so I can have all these buttons in one line, and then let's find out how I can improve that. So there's a better way than try to guess, but not for now. I just don't want to focus on these layouts. Inshallah, next week we're going to be talking about the different layouts and how they can help us to put the controls, the components in different places where we want them. But for now, I just don't want to spend time on that. What I can do, for example, I can do this. Put this to be 10, 10. This is going to, and also reduce the size to be 150 maybe, and just run and see. It's not that bad. Let me just see if I can. Okay, see, maybe just now if I have something like this, they're all to be. Maybe just the only thing is this thing. This result should be having some space, so I can have some. And then I don't remember what we did. We reduced the size, or was it before? We increased the size, so it should be a little bit more than. So let me 200. Not bad. So the size here should be probably 150, or maybe less, even 100. Maybe that's enough. Let's see. Not too, a little bit too much. 50 or 30. How about that? A little bit borderline. 40 should be fine. So that's nice. Now the problem is, actually, you see the advantage of using a text field that is going to be okay, because now if I just change if I have a number here, that's going to be a little bit tricky because it's going to mess up my layout, because you see just the buttons are going to be next to it. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go back to the text field because it's much easier for this layout. With this flow layout, this is I'm going to be the result, and this, I mean, the caption is going to be the result. It will be more intuitive. So this is going to be results, and remove this, and this is going to be result, and this can be 0. There's one thing that I can do though, is that this result set enabled or editable or enabled. These are two ways. Editable means I can change the value inside of it. So if I make it false, which means now if I run this, there's a problem. Oh yes, I forgot. Oh yeah, I forgot. I need to add, this is the result, the label result, and then the text field result. Now if I run this, it should be better, but notice that this one is like disabled because it doesn't allow to put numbers here. This I can type whatever I want here, but here I can't. So that's the result of this editable, which means it doesn't allow you to change. Or there's another way, you can set enabled. It's serves the same purpose, but this is like it's grayed. The difference is that I cannot even select here the 0 with the set enabled, but set editable, I can select the number, but you know, it's just the way it looks also that is different. The other one is kind of grayed out, but anyways, we don't care too much for now. Now the thing is, I would like to put some life in these buttons, so I am going to all of these buttons, I'll make them add the action listener to be this, and let's copy and paste, paste and paste. And then just all of them having the same action listener, because I want to show you that it's not always a bad idea to have them having one action listener, because now all of them are going to be attached to this same code, but I need to just distinguish between what to do when I have this if. Now this e dot, you see, remember I have to this get action command. This is going to give me the text, and then if this is equal to the plus, because that means that the button plus now is the one who generated that. Now what I'm going to do is just for fun, for now, set text to be plus, just so I can see that this was done actually. And else, basically else if it's minus, it's going to display minus. If it's the x, that means the multiplication. And well, there's no other option. If it's none of these and I'm finding myself here, that means that's the other button, which is the division. So now I'm going to replace this code with some function code, but just let's try that, just to see that if I click on the plus, that's the plus here, the minus, the multiplication, and the division. So it just keeps working the same way I expected. So that's one way, just to put all your code in one place. In this case might make some sense, but it's not always the case. Now what I'd like to do is that if it's a plus, I would like to take the number from text field 1 and then convert it from a text to a number. So what I'm going to do, just to simplify things, I'm going to call this number1, declare number1 to be a variable with type double, because it's more flexible. And then to convert something to double, there's this method that I need to specify a text here. So what's the text that I'm going to get? So text field number1 dot get text. I have a getter and setter. Since I have set text, I have get text. So this is going to give me the text. That text from number1 is going to be converted to a double and stored in number1. You guessed it, number2 is the same thing. Just now I get the number from number2. What I have now, maybe let's just have result, which is number1 plus number2, the double values, and all I need to do now here is just to display the result. And I have a function in addition.
Make it all the same.
The question before, yes, and
Can you run it? Do you declare a result?
just right here.
Okay.
I have another result, which is the TF result, which is different from result. And I have LBL result, which is different from result. But the thing is, because I named them result, I know that the label, this is the label result, this is the text field result, and this is just a variable result. Now I'm going to run, and so if I put like a number plus 10, let's say, this is going to be 22, and that's what I'm seeing. Now actually, let me show you something. If you'd like to convert also to a text, there's a better way than just do this. This string dot value of results. So this value of is some kind of very overloaded method. As you can see, value of, there's a lot of value of. There's a boolean, object, char, array, array of char, and then char, just int, long, float, and double. Which basically what it does, it just converts this number to a string. So you have value of and parse double. These are all things. I'm just leaving them. You can use the plus, it still works, but I just would like to show you some different things. Now actually the whole thing can be put in just one line if I want to, but it's going to be more complicated, so I'll just do that another time. Now what I need to do is just copy and paste and change, instead of now the plus should be the minus, and the same thing again, instead of the plus it's multiplication. Okay, and then the last one is the division. But you realize that I'm doing this all the time, so it could be taken outside, and then I don't have to do this all the time. But I have a problem, because now this result is not known in outside of these blocks, so I just need to the declaration, put it up. So this is hold on. So I need to initialize that.
You can also do for the numbers, and then we have one line beside.
And we can also have the numbers, because we're all the time we're doing the same thing, and then this will make more sense, because I'm just preparing this, and then these others, they don't need to be done all the time. I just do it once, and then this is going to be okay. Just get the numbers into doubles. Now if it's a plus, the result is going to be this operation. If it's a minus, this is the operation, etc. And then when I'm done, the result is going to be converted to a string and put into the text. You run, and then whatever you have, click on the plus, minus, multiplication, and division. It works fine. Now one last thing is that normally you don't divide without checking. So before this division, I need to do something. If the number 2 is equal to 0, then the result is 0. I need to put a result, because you cannot divide by so you don't have division by 0. So now if the number 2 is 0, then I'm just going to make the result 0, no need to calculate, because if I don't do that, now the way it was before is that if, okay, go back, cancel, okay, if I run again, and if I put like 10 here, 10 multiplied by 0, that's fine, the minus, the plus, 10 minus 0 is fine, but if you divide, you have this infinity, because you divide by 0, so I don't want to have that. So now by doing this, I can also control what I would like. I could also display something else if I want to. Sorry? So if you like that, so fine. Now if I divide, it's just going to be 0. But if you like infinity, just you remove that. But anyways, I just like to show that you can put some kind of code in. If you like, this is to leave the infinity there for your pleasure. So I could have used also in a class, or an anonymous in a class. This will have worked all the same. But now just wanted to show you that actually sometimes this might have some kind of benefits sometimes. So that's the calculator. Well, a simple calculator. Yes.
Value to string or to
String dot value of. That's the one. This one is to convert a double to a string. This one is to convert a string to a double. So one way or the other way. So you have double, you have string. If you'd like to convert a string to a double, this is what you use. And if you would like to convert a double to a string, this is what you use.